All right, so I've got my three Macs here. I've got my Performance 600, my G3 Mini Tower, and my 2SI. So my goal in this video is to get these guys connected to GlobalTalk for Marcintosh. So currently, the Performance 600 and the Power Mac G3 Mini Tower are connected via Ethernet through a Wi-Fi adapter to my Wi-Fi network. So around the backside of the machines, I've got my Ethernet switch here, and into that I've got my machines plugged, and on the uplink I have my Wi-Fi adapter down here. So this plugs into Ethernet and then can send Wi-Fi over to my Wi-Fi router. Now this device does not support AppleTalk, so machines plugged into my switch in the other room can't AppleTalk to these guys. But I think with GlobalTalk, we'll be able to make this work. So Steve from Mac84 has provided a BlueSCSI image with everything you need to run GlobalTalk. So I think what I want to do is take my 2SI and make it the router. My Performance 600 has a lot of SCSI devices hooked up to it. My G3 is too new to run System 7, and that leaves this 2SI here. So what I'd like to do is put this Ethernet card in it, which I don't know if it works or not. We'll find out. And a BlueSCSI, which I think it might already actually have a BlueSCSI in it. I can't quite remember. But if not, I'll put one in it, and then we'll use that as the router. So let's go ahead and get this guy apart. All right, so I need to move a few things out of the way here. I've got a Color Style Writer 2500, which I've never attempted to use. I assume the ink is completely dead. I've got an LCD monitor here I used for my Power Mac 7100 that I have down here on the bottom. I've also got a Performance 630, 636 or something down there. All right, so we'll just lift this monitor here out of the way. We'll open up the 2SI. All right, so we do not have a BlueSCSI in here, so we can rectify that, no problem. And we do not have the angle adapter for it either, which is going to be a bit more of a problem. I think I might have one of those somewhere. Let me look. All right, well, this is what I was after. This is the adapter that includes the 68882 and has a NUBA slot. This one also has a Ethernet card in it already, but it's only got AUI and 10BASE2. I do have some AUI adapters, but I prefer just to have straight Ethernet. So let's take this card out and drop this untested one in. This is a Dana card. I mean, it looks like it's in good shape, just a little rusty on the connector, but I think it's okay. All right, so that is all together. Should just slide in here. All right, there we go. And I do have the little screws to hold it in place. We'll use those. Actually, first I need to take it back out and take the slot cover off. Now I can install it and actually access the port. And I think what I'll do for BlueSCSI is use my external one, so that way it's easier for me to change the image if I need to, so I don't have to take the case apart again. So I'll just disconnect the hard drive here and the power as well. This hard drive does work, everything's fine with it. Put the case back on. I'm just going to borrow the Ethernet cable from the G3 tower here. Plug the Ethernet into here. So now I'm going to go get Steve's BlueSCSI image and load it on external BlueSCSI. All right, I've got my external BlueSCSI. I've got a micro SD card with Steve's image loaded on it. So let's plug this in to here. Let's plug this into the machine. All right, so with everything set up, we've got our Ethernet card, our external BlueSCSI, hard drive's disconnected. Let's go ahead and give it some power. All right, so we are up in System 7.1. We go to my control panels. Now maybe I shouldn't be changing things on here until I read the instructions. But I'm going to select EtherTalk slot 1, which should be the Dana card. I'm going to set my Performance 600 to also be using Ethernet. All right, so if we go to our chooser, and we go to Apple Share, I don't think my server is online yet, but oh, there it is. So we can see that the Ethernet card is functional, at least for AppleTalk. I don't know about TCP/IP yet, but I presume if it works for one, it will work for both. So that's cool. So the next thing I need to do then is read the instructions, because now I think we're at the point where things become complicated. All right, we're at the part where we're going to be configuring the Mac. So we need to open up the sharing setup to turn on file sharing if we want. Well, I've got it enabled on my Performance 600, which is good. Can turn on guest access. I don't have that on yet, but I will turn that on. Then it says to open Mac TCP and set a static IP address. I have not done that. And then open the network control panel to make sure Ethernet is selected. So I did that already, out of order, but it's not going to be a problem. And then we need to start the router manager. We need to modify EtherTalk under Ethernet slot 6. Set the port status to active, set the seed, and set the network range, and add a new zone name. So this will be my AppleTalk zone on GlobalTalk. It says the XY network range is important, and we can't duplicate it. So I'm going to check the spreadsheet. I'm not going to pull that up on the video here because it has people's personal IP addresses, but I will do that and find something with no conflict. I'll go to the IP tunnel, click active, and then we'll add the IP addresses of the other remote Macs we'll be connecting to. So these are all on the spreadsheet. So I'll probably just print that out and keep it off camera. And then we can connect local talk. We're not doing emulation. Save the router document. Set startup. And then we need to configure port forwarding on my ISP's modem. And then we will start the router manager service. So I'm going to go ahead and get this stuff started and take you through the process. All right, so I went ahead in my router from AT&T and added a port forwarding rule, UDP port 387, forwarding to 192.168.1.208, which will be the IP address of 2SI. All right, so we set up AppleTalk to use Ethernet, which is what we need. Now we need to open up Mac TCP. I need to set this to static IP address, and I've selected 208. We also need to set subnet mask in the router. I'll just set this other stuff as well. We do need to set DNS if we want to use names. So now we need to configure the Apple Internet router. So let's close this, open this up. So we need to start the router manager. Router name Quadra 605. So I think we can call this whatever we want. I'll call this one Johnny O. Then it says double click on EtherTalk under Ethernet slot 6. I don't have slot 6, but I do have slot 1. That's probably the one we want. All right, so let's double click on that. Set port status to active. All right. Port to seed. Network range. So the network range is something we had to define in this Google Drive spreadsheet so that there's no overlaps. And I have selected 930 to 939. I'm going to add my new zone, which I have decided to call also Johnny O. I'll add that. All right, and I think we hit define to save this. And then it says to check our IP tunnel. So this is where we'll add host IDs of the other Macs we want to talk to. So I think I'm going to start small and just talk to Ron's computer videos. So I'll go ahead and add that here. So now we need to save our router document. We'll save it on the desktop so I know where it is. Johnny O router. All right, so now we hit Control Set Startup. And we select our router document. All right, and then it says Start it up. So Control Menu Start Router. Let's start it. I wouldn't expect that. All right. Well, let's check our chooser. See if we can see Ron. And we cannot. We do have a TARDIS though, that's cool. They're bigger on the inside than on the outside. So it turns out we just needed to wait a few minutes, and then everything shows up here. So we can see there's my AppleTalk zone with my server, and then we have 40 megahertz is enough for anyone with a 2FX tower of power and a Raspberry Pi, and Chark's World, nothing, Performance 630 CD. So let's check out this 2FX tower of power. We'll connect as a guest. Let's check out games. So that's it, reading games from across the internet using AppleTalk. Well, let's go ahead and grab one here. Let's grab Stuntcopter 2.0, copy that to my drive, and of course that's the external BlueSCSI SD card. Now, I've been told that copying is quite slow, although this 1 megabyte file went really quickly. That's quite surprising. Well, let's check out our bounty here and see if it actually runs on this system. Look at that. Hey, I remember this game. Cool, let's switch over to the Performance 600. So now it's my understanding that on this machine, if I go to my AppleTalk, well, we know it's still there because we could see it from the other one. And we do see the zone, Johnny O. So if we go to chooser here, there are our zones. And look, even more are showing up. WASFest HQ, WaffleNet. That's really cool. All right, and now we're gonna fire up the Power Mac G3, the mini tower. And we're gonna get sharing going on there as well. All right, so I think we got everything working. I ended up adding the LocalTalk as well, since I do have a LaserWriter 2NTX. I can see it. Unfortunately, it's telling me by these two flashing red lights down here that it needs service. And that's typically the power supply that's gone bad. So last time I used it was probably about a year ago. It worked fine, but of course I decided to give up the ghost. So maybe I'll take a chance and take it apart and see if I can recap it. Anyway, I can see it, so I know it's working. I've got my Performance 600 here, shared out. I've got my G3 mini tower here shared out. And we can look at any of the zones. Let's use this one here, this keyboard's closer. Actually, let's go back here because I have my printer driver installed on this one. At least if I go to LaserWriter and go to Johnny O Local. There's my 2NTX, and I can see it, I can talk to it, and if I try to print, it says service required. So it's unfortunate. But if we look at my Johnny O zone, there's my Performance 600 under Apple Share, and then we have all of these other wonderful people as well sharing their things out. So he's got 519 megabytes of games here on this disk, and I've got 597 megs free. So by my math, I should be able to do a Control A. Man, that's me, Windows me talking. Command A, and copy all of these over. Let's see how that's gonna go for us. So this is gonna be a several hour operation if it doesn't fail. We can see the activity over here now is starting to go up. All right, well, here it is the next day. I cleared the error, but unfortunately it said that the file server was taken offline at 7:54 p.m. in 1956 because my clock isn't set. But we got some stuff copied over. We've got a Slick Willy 2, Slick Willy 3, Solarian 2. So that's really cool. And I'm also noticing over here that it looks like somebody is connected right now and going through my shares. So we've got activity happening. That's pretty cool. So this is a list of everybody's location that's participating in GlobalTalk for Merchantosh. There's a lot of Americans, of course, but it's really nice to see all the other areas of the world represented as well. Well, at least the ones that are represented. So that's pretty cool. There's so much fun. Look at all of these different zones that have connected to my node. I only entered the one, and all these other people have connected to mine, so I can see them back. This is so cool. Look at all these servers out here. Of Mac OS. Classic Macintosh System 7, 8, and maybe even 9. All right, so I think we've accomplished the goal we set out to accomplish. We've got our 3 Macs connected to GlobalTalk, and I guess maybe I should have explained what GlobalTalk was sooner, but GlobalTalk is basically routing the AppleTalk protocol over the internet and allowing these machines to talk to each other using what is a very chatty, very old protocol, and using modern current technology to be able to have these machines network together across the internet. So anyway, this was a lot of fun. It was actually not as difficult, I think, as it could have been, thanks to Steve at Mac84 for making that BlueSCSI image. So Steve, you're always great. Thanks for doing it. And thank you for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Hi guys! Make sure to like and subscribe, and watch more of our videos later. Bye!